the formless, is essential on the journey because it is the background, it is the scene where the present moment takes place. If we're in a film studio, it is the set. And then there are all the props, all the actors, all the cameras in the scene of the present space, which is filled up with all that you experience, the body, the room, objects all around, the sky and the sun and the moon. That is the scene of our experience. That's where the action is happening. And God is a director, and God has a script. And if people would follow that script, things would be beautiful. But the actors are usually misidentified. Then it gets a bit complicated of what's going on in the scene. So we experience all sorts of dualities, all sorts of limitations of identifications and limitations of objectivity, limitations of the forms. So that's a big overview of what's going on. Now, in the spiritual journey, at some point, we encounter non-duality, self-enquiry, and they're very helpful at certain stages on the journey. They're not so helpful for most people to awaken into inner light because with self-enquiry without the inner light, you're just doing mental exercise. There's not enough space, there is no light awakening, so it's just a mental exercising. Who am I? And I'm not this, I'm not that, but mostly from what we have observed with tens of thousands of people doing self-enquiry without that first awakening is just on a philosophical level. So that's not the right time to start your journey with it. You start your journey by awakening your energetics, your inner light, and the inner space. And now you have that larger capacity. And in that larger capacity, then you may start inquiring, is this real? Am I only this? Who am I really? But now it's no longer mental exercise. Now we can taste the real fruits of it. It helps us to get more clarity that this body, I'm not only this body, it's here, yes, but I'm not only this body. And am I these thoughts? No. Am I these feelings? No. So we start to clarify the deeper nature. And it's very helpful actually. But in relation to the self-enquiry, we still need to employ the further healing and polishing of our energetics, further attunements to the higher consciousness and energetics, because otherwise, only with self-inquiry we will keep circling round and round. After few results, then it starts to fade away, and then we just keep circling around. Now, many will say, oh, but Ramana was so good, and many awakened, and Papaji, and Nisargadatta Maharaj. Yes, in their presence, self-inquiry worked well because their presence was a mountain of light. Their presence, their consciousness was a mountain of light. So thus you do the self-inquiry. Am I this? I'm not this. I'm not that. And it just splashes you all that light at you. So it works. Yes, it works. But if you sit at home and you keep doing it for years and years, you're just doing mental exercising otherwise, for most people. So therefore, understanding that the presence of a teacher is needed, or that who is awakened, for self-enquiry to be truly fruitful. In other words, for the formless based meditations, the presence of a teacher is necessary. Then they will bear fruits and the progress will be made. The same thing applies on the opposite side of the coin. If people only do energetic work and only do the various attunements to the seven rays and other forms of light attunements and so on, only that also has certain limitations because you need more space for that. So those who follow the most common, let's say, either tantric teachings or bhakti teachings or ascension teachings, new age teachings, which are more energetic based or love based and so on, they keep working on the energy, on emotions, on feelings, and on various rays of light, but without that extra space and disidentification from something more limiting. Again, we reach a certain point and then we just keep repeating the same thing. So thus, the best approach, as we know on the journey, is to put everything together in the right place. Sometimes we use inner space widenings. We use inner space widenings prior to inner light awakening, and then very much in presence, very much at non-duality stage, and then again at the great void stage, and then again we sum it up and finalize it at the full consciousness stage. So that's where we use formlessness based approaches and techniques. And in between, in the other gaps in between, we do various energetic work, attunements to higher energetics, and bhakti approach. And then some people like to revisit it at the awareness stage to bring more loving awareness approach. And then we rest in the void. And then we again bring bhakti back at the divine love stage. And people could continue with the bhakti approach all the way to full consciousness then, because then it's easy. After reaching the divine love stage, once you get to that point, you could continue with the bhakti approach and transmission and love to keep flowering, opening up to the absolute. Therefore, we can see those intertwining paths, like a 12-strand DNA path. If we go only one pathway, oh, limitations come up. Only the other way, limitations come up. And to grow and fully open up, we use various ways at various stages.